Hey everybody. This is an interesting number too, but the EPA's annual budget is $11.881 billion, and the EPA budget is the amount of money allocated by the President and Congress to support the agency's mission of protecting human health and the environment. The proposed FY fiscal year 2023 budget for the EPA is, like I said, $11.881 billion and 16,204 FTE, which is a 2.644 billion increase from the. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, so they're receiving close to $12 billion a year. Now I'm going to go to their webpage here, and I want this. So this is. I went to the webpage and I went specifically into climate change because there's a lot of talk about climate change. And they're using this as a smokescreen to make people feel like they're doing good things and they actually care about the climate. When in actuality, a lot of these people that are perpetuating that image are actually the ones that are also pushing technologies and practices that are emitting more CO2 and killing more of the earth. So they're actually just fucking lying to you guys and doing the exact opposite of what they say. They're not just what they say they're supposed to do, what they're being paid to do from our tax money. But let's just take a look and see what their little two bits is on climate change. Again, I want this to be like an organization I could go to and work with and work. This is the type of job I'd love to do, helping grow trees, helping clean up the planet. I love picking up garbage. There should be no reason why, with that much of a budget, they don't have work programs set up for individuals like that who want to go and just make a little bit of money just to pick up garbage or just to plant trees or just to plant, help gardens out. I mean, there's so many things that we can do with working with the earth. And it's not only good for the earth, it's also good for the human soul. And it would also counter climate change. So it's like, it just seems simple and obvious that you would, develop these type of programs. But again, using that, they'd have to get into the hemp plant. And if they get into the hemp plant, it's going to threaten their pharmaceutical industries, their technology. I think you could build laptops out of hemp. The battery, the plastic that goes into the laptop, all of it can be made out of hemp. So this literally threatens trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of these evil companies. In my opinion, they're evil because they're corrupting shit. If you're corrupting something, that means you're more along the lines of evilness. They have their part to play just like we do. I'm not trying to be hateful towards them. I'm just trying to shed light to those who are on more the good side, the more loving life side, to let them know that right now the country here that you're living in America is being run by people who are essentially anti-life or anti-human. So it's something that we need to. I mean, do you want to live with those type of people telling you what to do? Do you want to continue paying these people money to pollute you and lie to you and poison you? I mean, it's insanity. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is, and we've gotten ourselves into this mess. So I think it's also important that we take accountability for each role that we've all played in allowing these fucking corporations to grow to such size, and for us not doing our own due diligence and good work as human beings and finding out, like, if something doesn't feel right, we need to go deeper into it and to not be neglectful, not to just let it go, and no, just to stand your ground when you know something's right. And if people aren't in positions of power that are standing up for what's right, then we need to find a way to get them out of power and get people who really do want to stand up for what's right in power. But anyway, enough of my preaching. Let me just go ahead and read this. So, understanding and addressing climate change is critical to EPA's mission of protecting human health and the environment. EPA tracks and reports greenhouse gas emissions, leverages sound science. So, see, right there, I can use this against them. And they're talking about using science, and the FDA also talks about using the scientific method. And it's like, if that were really true, you guys would be sharing the information on hemp because the science is in, the proof is in the pudding. Study the plant. Let's see what comes from the studying of the plant, okay? Let's test it on people who I'll volunteer. I'm sure there's cancer patients out there that, I've seen testimonials of people who've found enough desire inside themselves to take a risk and try, because there's not really any negative side effects of hemp. Like, I've heard of maybe some people having allergic reactions, but that's very few and far between. And I haven't even found any result. That's stuff I've heard. I actually haven't seen it or met anybody or even seen anything online it's a real testimony of somebody having an actual allergic reaction to marijuana. It could happen. I'm sure it could. Very small, just like with other drugs, this type of stuff can happen. But for most, because human beings, the thing about the human being is we have endocannabinoid systems inside of our body that come from cannabinoid use. So, like, there's literally receptors in the human body that come from cannabinoid use. The only way they could be there is if we had some way or some fashion had such a strong relationship with cannabinoid that our bodies adapted to the plant so much that we literally developed receptors specifically designed to fucking interact with that plant. So the fact that they're holding that plant away from us and keeping the information of what it can do for us and our planet and the animals is, in my opinion and act against humanity and all of life in general. Especially if you're in an organization like the FDA or the EPA, whose job is to help monitor healthy food and to help protect the environment. I mean, the hemp does both of those things and easily, too. Not to mention it could offer good work opportunities for people like myself who actually want to do good work in this country. Let me continue on here. So sound science, and invests in America to combat climate change. All right, sounds good. EPA is committed to protecting the environment and public health in low-income, tribal, and other overburdened communities by integrating environmental justice in all programs, policies, and activities. Learn more about environmental justice and the disproportionate impacts of climate change. So that's all they have there. As far as the initial thing on climate change science. Let's see what they have to say about this real quick. The Earth's climate is changing. Multiple lines of evidence show changes in our weather, oceans, ecosystems, and more. EPA is committed to providing the most up-to-date and accurate climate science information, including basics, causes, indicators, and impacts of climate change. Okay, I mean, it's very, 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 very vague. They're not talking anything about CO2. They're not talking about, causes. Here we go. Causes, okay. Since the Industrial Revolution, human activities have released large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which has changed the Earth's climate. Natural processes such as changes in the sun's energies and volcanic eruptions also affect the Earth's climate. However, they do not explain the warming that we have observed over the last century. So human versus natural causes. Scientists have pieced together a record of the Earth's climate by analyzing, so they've looked into the tree rings, and I'm looking for them to talk about the cars and also the cows. I mean, I'm sorry, we eat too much meat here in America, or probably the rest of the world too, but especially here in America. I think that the emission that's emitted from cows' gas is worse than the emission that's emitted from cars. Like the collective emission from all the cows that we have on the planet and what they have to do naturally, fart and all these type of things, is worse than all the emissions that we have from all the cars, which is really, saying something. It also just goes to say that you can have too much of one type of species is bad for land. That's what happened. What was it? Rabbits in Australia or something like that. They introduced some type of an unnative species to a land, and